Hi. We watched Luca.
We're just getting into it, okay?
Yeah. Well, we haven't
Um,
thought of should we make an intro? Like an actual legitimate intro that we do with each episode or
we'll
just keep it
see at
loosey
some
goosey?
point. We'll keep it loosey goosey for now. I'm also kind of tired right now.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't one that's like, this isn't as bombastic as our Hellboy episode. We're not going to be screaming about this, I don't think.
Fuck that movie.
Yeah, that's a bad movie. This, on the other hand, I really like that movie. This was a lot of
I
fun
also
watching this
really like
movie.
this movie.
It's really
It's a very
sweet,
sweet
right?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
really
like it
liked
just
it.
makes you smile. That's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Pixar is
Also
very
makes
good at
me,
that.
yeah, fucking angry at Disney though. Not
Yeah.
Pixar. Pixar's cool. Pixar's great.
Pixar is
They're just
amazing.
consistently flexing their animation skills all the time.
I really do like the fact that the animation style in this one is different than what they usually go with. Like
Yeah,
it has its own artistic interpretation, which all their movies do, but this one just feels different with the
yeah.
animation, and I really like it.
Similar to Soul for me.
Yeah. Well, to me,
Soul,
what Soul was is it was like a higher caliber of what Pixar usually does, whereas like this is completely different.
I don't know. I think that it's like that when they're in like afterlife things, but
Mm.
the real life human beings I think are completely different from anything Pixar has ever done. They
It's
seem like
still a crime that we couldn't see that movie in theaters, man.
I know it's a crime we couldn't see this fucking movie in
That's
theaters.
true. This
I would
movie
have
is
loved to go to
visually
see this movie in
spectacular. Yeah.
theaters. It's so nice, and I would have.
I know. It's way more like visually impactful than anything Raya did or anything Cruella did, and both of those got the
Oh
premiere
yeah,
things.
I didn't see Raya in theaters, but I
Neither did
saw
I.
Cruella in theaters, and yeah.
Yeah, we know how that went. Anyway, without going into spoilers, this is I don't think it's not anywhere close to the best Pixar movie, but that's hard to beat because Pixar makes some good
Yeah,
movies. Um,
yeah. It's definitely better than their like mediocre stuff, and they have plenty of that
for sure. It's
stuff like
better than
Onward.
their sequels, like
Yeah, their sequels.
other than the
I
Toy
mean
Story
some of their
sequels.
original stuff.
The Toy Story sequels
I
are amazing.
yeah, Toy Story sequels are really good,
They just
like
keep getting
consistently.
better and better. Dude, Toy Story 3, every time I watch that ending.
Yeah,
Ah,
Toy Story 3 is great. Toy Story 4 is also very good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, this movie, it there's a lot of things about this movie that I really enjoy. Um, I think beat for beat, it's very entertaining and
Yes.
watchable, and there's an understanding of putting these characters into situations that Pixar executes so well, and I love it.
They
Just
understand how a story works, which is
yes,
incredible.
the existence of water just making everything a problem is
Yeah.
genius.
No, that was
Um,
great.
it's so good. Um, and they use it all the time. They take advantage of that as much as possible.
Hmm. Along
Yeah,
with that, and this is to be expected from a Pixar movie, the music, man, is
yeah.
gorgeous. The music is
Music's really good.
incredible. Pixar is kind of becoming like the Western Miyazaki when it comes to music, because Miyazaki always had great, like a
Yeah,
great ear for the music he wanted in his films.
from what I've seen of Miyazaki, I enjoy far more than I've enjoyed any Pixar film. In all honesty, um,
There's one Miyazaki film that will kill you that you should watch. Watch
it's
Grave
great
of
for
the
the
Fire. Yeah.
Fireflies, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
God, dude, that movie.
I haven't seen
I
it
have
yet.
not cried that hard watching a movie in my life. I was like, the rest of the day, I was broken. It's
Yeah,
so good. It's so good. Oh my God.
I, yeah. There's a lot of Miyazaki I need to watch, and it's just so fucking beautiful.
It is.
Those
It's
films.
incredible.
Yeah, and Pixar is also very good. I actually felt like I got a lot of hints of Miyazaki from this movie.
I
Um,
think so too. And I think
I
it's a lot because of the
partially
dream sequences and then one with nature and all that stuff.
the dream sequence is part of it. For me, it was a lot of like the coastal town aesthetic, and it felt
Yeah.
very similar to Kiki's Delivery Service to me.
I was
Um,
thinking Ponyo, but yeah, I
I
can
haven't
see how
seen
Kiki.
Ponyo.
I love
Oh no,
Ponyo.
I have. I've seen it was very young. Isn't
Yeah.
that movie like more modern? Like it takes place in more modern?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not thematically or really in any way other than just like there's some setting things that I find similar between the two films.
Yeah.
I enjoy Kiki's more, but
Well, and also like the children in this movie are very
yes.
alike to like My Neighbor Totoro, like the two girls in that,
Mm-hmm.
the childish innocence, and I
Yeah.
really, I don't know, this movie's just like it makes you happy.
It does. It makes me happy. It's just a sweet movie about like kids in a small Italian town on the coast.
Yeah.
And well, it's not about kids, it's about mermaids.
Mermaid kids.
Although they're called sea monsters throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
Um, they never use the word mermaid, which I found very interesting.
I really like the way that they look, the sea monsters, because like especially the
Yeah.
transformations, like how their skin like flips over into like
Mm-hmm.
scales or whatever. I
It
think that looks really cool.
yes. I really like all of that. I like how just similar or different enough all of the
Yeah.
all of the transformations look. It's really great.
Also,
I,
like, oh well, actually, this is gonna get into spoiler. We'll do that later. But
one that I like is the mom. The fact that she doesn't have a human nose when she's in sea monster form. She just kind of has like her whole face is kind of like a nose, and then when she goes into human form, it becomes like a giant.
yeah, she has like a
Strauss.
giant. Yeah.
And it's really well done and just execution in general. I quite like.
Yeah, the
And then
character
there's like
design is great.
yes, there's one thing, and this is very small that I really enjoyed, which is the like her dad with the one arm. Yeah,
Are you
I
are
really
you
like
thinking
him.
about what I'm thinking about? Like
I'm
the
thinking about like he's like I was born with one arm,
yes,
and
yes,
there's
I
it is
love
it
that.
is it is the littlest thing, but it's just like oh that's kind of sweet. It's
Yeah.
like this is just how I've lived my life.
Well, I was like so like
Um,
they do the whole red herring thing. You're like, oh, this dude got his arm bitten off with a sea
yeah,
monster. There was a
yeah,
whole epic fight, and then he's like, and
uh-huh.
then he says like, I got it bitten off by a sea monster, and all of them look freaked out. And it's like, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And
Like
it's great.
it's almost they knew it would be too on the nose, and the fact that like when he brings it up, it is just a little thing.
Yeah.
It's only ever brought up once. It's very small, but I quite like a lot of the different relationships in this movie. I love the Italian shithead kid
Oh
with the
yeah,
moped.
yeah.
He's great.
That was great. I love like the wispy
Um,
mustache they gave him.
yes,
I was hilarious.
exactly.
And the fact that like his goons always have a sandwich.
Yeah. Well, the first time they're carrying like a, I
Like
don't even know,
like a
like a
12 foot
5 foot
long or
long
something. Oh yeah,
sandwich. Yeah, I'm not. It was a very big sandwich.
yeah.
It's the basic idea of it. It also like especially early on, very similar to the Little Mermaid. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Specifically like the collection of human things.
Well, also like the character who lives under the sea wants to experience the surface against his parents' wishes.
Yes,
And then
that's very
ultimately at the end, be like his parents let him embrace the surface. So
yes, and part of that you're like, oh, that's very much like Little Mermaid. Then you think about Disney as a whole. You're like, oh, this is just kind of how a lot of Disney movies work.
yeah.
Um,
Well, Little Mermaid wasn't, originally it wasn't a Disney movie. It was a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale.
no,
So
yes, but like the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale is not the same thing as the Little Mermaid.
it is up until the end. The end is the
Yes,
only
but
difference.
like, yes, but no.
I see what you're saying. I'm just saying it's like
You,
by
you
saying based off the Little Mermaid, like it could be same source material type thing.
it could be same source. But like I'm thinking about like very comparatively
Right.
thematically.
Yeah. No.
There is a difference between the thematic reasoning between one version of the Little Mermaid wanting to go to the surface and another.
Yeah.
Like the Hans Christian Andersen is wanting what you don't have.
And then
Um,
turning into sea foam.
yeah,
Because that's a crazy story.
And then the Disney version is about like growing up and moving out into the world and all of your Disney tropes.
That's a coming of age story, and that's why it hit so
exactly.
big, because it hit home with many, especially teenage women who wanted to like
Yes.
escape from their overbearing fathers.
Mm. Yes. Um, and this is also a coming of age story in a way that like it feels like it feels like this could be a live action movie if it wasn't for the mermaid element, right?
It does, yeah.
In mermaid element, I mean, you could make a movie where they're secretly mermaids, but you could not make a live action movie where water is constantly having them switch around. It would
That
be
it would be
so
crazy
difficult.
hard.
It would be a nightmare.
If you had to do it, it would be like big budget movie,
Yeah.
and you'd have to have like the
Yes.
best technical like Weta digital guys like constantly on scene saying, okay, we need to frame the shot like this. You cannot have any camera movement. You know.
Yes, and in this, it I think it just leads to some really powerful imagery, consistently. And
Yeah.
one great choice that I think is that, the change, after the first scene we see it, is always to specifically which part of how much of water is touching your body. So your body only changes to where water touches it.
Yeah,
So
like
you get
sometimes a
small
character
little
gets
portions.
splashed on his arm and only his arm turns into the
Yeah, like
scaly
there's a
thing.
scene in the late part of the movie where we can get into spoilers for that. We can wait a bit later because this movie, I feel like this is fresh, and I think a lot of people should watch this. This is one of the first movies that's been like where it's like this is a very enjoyable movie to watch,
and it is free quotation marks free, but it's
if you have
on
Disney Plus. It is free on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
it's
free like for a small fee of $7 a month or whatever it is.
It's part of their catalog.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I think we should start getting into spoilers because I'm not sure how much we can go through more, but watch this movie. It's very good.
Before moving on, before like you watch the rest of this, go watch this movie. Like it's less of a you're gonna get spoiled. A lot of the beats would be how you would expect them to go.
It's a very simple story.
Yeah, just it's Pixar's execution. And I think them stepping a little bit more out of their usual comfort zone, both with animation and setting. And I'm pretty sure, like, I didn't recognize the director, but it was an Italian director.
Yeah, no, it was.
And she seemed, I would assume she would be pretty involved, right?
Probably.
And just all of it seems like probably more collaboration with other studios, and in general, just, very, very watchable movie and enjoyable experience.
You will have a good time. You will smile. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And then on to like spoilers. And at some point I do feel like we should talk about some of the controversy to this film.
I think there's no way to talk about this without addressing that.
Yeah, I'm not fully aware of it. In my opinion, I think this movie has there's some implications to it that I see with what people are talking about. And while I think it would be really nice to have a sweet childhood romance film with two boys.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. And I think it was really nice. And I honestly have no doubt in my mind that the Pixar was aware of that, because the movie ends with one of them running after the other one on a train.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what you're doing. This is one of the most classic tropes in American cinema. Everyone should know what's going on at that point. And just in general, I think their relationship is quite sweet.
It is. So my view on the whole thing. So, okay, to give some backstory of the controversy we're talking about, in case you don't know, this movie, when I forget which trailer came out, it was either the first or the second trailer, but it was one that featured the two title characters, Luca and what the hell is the other kid's name?
It starts with an A.
God, I should remember this. I watched it yesterday.
Alberto.
Thank you. Okay, so one of the trailers came out. It had Luca and Alberto, and a lot of it didn't have the girl character, the Santa Mozzarella one, but she they had only those two characters, so all you really saw was them being friends and doing what they do in the movie, being these two charismatic boys having fun with each other, right? And then as soon as that trailer dropped, within seconds, not everybody, but certain people and certain news sources from certain sides of the political spectrum got
tell
super
me
pissed.
which sides, because I'm very like right wing.
It's the right. It's the right. It's the
Okay.
right wing.
Oh, so the right was being homophobic.
They were not just being homophobic, but it was also like the fact that, there were some left wing people who did it, but it was like majority right wing, you know. But what basically happened is they saw this and they saw two boys in a beachside villa wearing short shorts and like button down shirts with their sleeves rolled up, being best friends. They looked at that and they saw Call Me by Your Name, a controversial film. And Call Me by Your Name is not, I can understand it being controversial because it's about a 19-year-old guy dating a 17 or a 16-year-old, because that's,
That's different.
age laws. Yeah, it's different. Like a lot of people say it's controversial because the characters are gay. I don't think that's true. I think it's controversial because of the age difference. But anyway,
I mean, it's both, because if you think about like historically the ages of different people in relationships when they're heterosexual in film, you are not going to have the same level of controversy that you are when it's a homosexual relationship.
Yeah, the movie definitely, I don't have a problem with it. I know the source material, a lot of people do. I'm not going to get into this because I don't know enough about it.
I have not seen the movie or read the book, so I won't.
I've only watched the first half of the movie, and then I intended to finish it, and it left whatever streaming service I was watching it on. But point is, well, of what I saw, I didn't have a problem with it. But because a lot of people related the trailer for Luca to having similar themes to Call Me by Your Name, a bunch of people got very mad because they didn't want another Call Me by Your Name to get made. Whether it's because they didn't want another movie with gay characters, or whether it's because they didn't want a movie with, teenagers experimenting the thing.
That seems fucking wild to me.
Yeah, no, when the news reports came out, I was thinking this is a Pixar movie, you guys.
Yeah.
What do you think they're gonna do?
There is no way that this movie was ever going to be Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
It's created by Disney. And there is a lot of reasons why Disney does not include like main gay relationships in their films, and it's because they have to appeal to a larger audience in other countries.
Yeah,
and in America,
even in this country,
there's a lot of fucking homophobia in America, and it's a problem.
It is,
and that led to them being fucking cowards. So there was no way they would like ever allow Pixar or any animation studio to have such an openly gay relationship in like a main Pixar film. Which we know because they made Raya and the Last Dragon.
yeah.
I'm sorry, those characters should have kissed.
They should have kissed.
You had the opportunity to do a well implemented, like, not even bat an eye gay relationship in your movie, and you don't.
It almost makes it more noticeable because they don't kiss, right? Like,
yeah.
Like it would be less noticeable that the characters were gay if they kissed, but the fact that they don't just makes you go, they should have kissed.
Yeah, like the majority of people I have talked to about that movie have said they should have kissed, and this movie I think it's different, because it doesn't need to be that present, and I kind of think the whole time the movie is doing a little bit of winking at you, that these characters on some degree like have a little of like a childhood romance, which is very common.
After watching the movie, what I kind of got from it, so okay. I did not think that, so one, all the controversy is dumb. I don't think anybody should have like seen the trailer, especially from a Pixar movie, like we said, and been Call Me by Your Name. That's what this movie's gonna be. There's no way. So that's going off of that though. I do see how some people can see, a romance out of the two characters. I personally didn't, but one of the things that it got me thinking about is the fact that it's much easier when you're watching, because this is something that I do a lot, but for me, whenever I'm watching a movie, if I see, a man and a woman, and if they're like being a little flirty, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe they're going to do a relationship thing. But if I see a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or something of like an LGBTQ, community representation, I instantly go, there, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Because I feel like us as audiences, we're more prone to make, these subtext connections because there's not enough representation in film when it comes to the gay community.
I think that's part of it. And the other thing for me, though, is the tropes of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already mentioned the train thing. And another thing is like the relationship between, I've already forgotten their name.
Alberto,
the relationship between Alberto and Luca, and that relation and how that relates to the relationship with the girl.
Yeah. Oh, that's a love triangle. Sorry, that's just a love triangle.
It's a like animated kids movie love triangle, right?
Yeah.
Which is usually like a boy starts talking to a girl and they're like jealous of the girl. But in this movie, it very much felt like Alberto was trying to hold on to Luca and trying to separate them from the girl.
Yeah.
That was the vibe. And that's usually because they're like feeling jealous of this girl. And that seemed very specific and very intentional. And just the way the whole way their relationship works. And like stepping out into a new world to meet this young man, like of the same age as you, to a certain degree. Like there's a lot of different thematic things that go along with this, including the fact that they're both mermaids in a like place that will not accept them.
I know this is probably okay. I know everybody thinks about this when they think about mermaids, but how does genitalia? I don't know. How
we don't
like
need to get
when
into that. They have
they transform though. Like how does that work? Because they didn't have pants. No, because if you think about it, they're not wearing pants. Then Luca transforms. Then he's wearing pants.
No, he's not.
Is he wearing pants?
No,
pretty sure he's wearing pants. Does he go?
Changes into?
Oh
no.
Well, he changes into a shirt, but doesn't he have like seaweed pants?
Yeah. He has seaweed pants when he's in the ocean too.
He does.
They're all wearing clothes under the ocean. Dude.
I thought that was just their scales.
No, they had seaweed clothes. All of them did.
Oh, okay, never mind. That makes much more sense.
Yeah, but just like I honestly think looking at a lot of the like general, I don't know if it's intentional or not. It seemed very much like there was a hinting at the idea of there being a gay relationship without like explicitly saying it. And I think that's fine because you're talking about like it's a like childhood romance.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that exists. And
I think it's one of those things like for me, there's been a lot of controversy on I'm part of Lord of the Rings Twitter because I'm one of those people. God, I hate that sentence, but
don't say Lord of the Rings Twitter.
I don't know how internet talk
there's
goes.
A lot of controversy on Twitter with like about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so there's a lot of controversy is were Frodo and Sam gay or were they just friends? To which I say it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
You can go either way.
So I think this is the same case. Everybody like on Twitter would get, so self-righteous, oh, it's all about why can't men just have friendships and not be gay? And then other people are like, why can't we just have more gay relationships in cinema and storytelling? Whereas I just say, why can't you just interpret it the way you want to and leave other people's business alone?
Well, because the fact that we don't have enough gay representation and the fact that we don't have enough explicit gay representation.
No, yeah, I get that. I'm saying like why if Lord
of the Rings,
I think friends, why do I have to go to somebody who believes they were in a relationship and say like, oh, you're bad.
Yeah,
you don't
of course,
understand storytelling. Like it doesn't matter.
Don't fight about it like that.
Yeah.
It is about having a conversation about how we should be having more explicitly gay relationships and like not just gay relationships, all different kinds of relationships, because like as we know, gender and in general like sexuality is a very fluid thing.
Yeah, and also like heterosexual norms have been flooding Hollywood for over a century now.
Oh, so, absolutely. Like,
it's time
Hollywood
for change.
Is a painfully heterosexual place.
Yeah.
Just like hyper masculine, hyper feminine, and how the fact that they have a lot of effect on what people see to be what is correct.
But like going back to Luca, I just think this is one of those things where if you see it as a young romance, great. If you see it as friends, great. Either way, the story works really well around it, you know? Like it doesn't need to be a romance and it doesn't need to be a friendship. It can be either or it can be both. That's the great thing about telling a kid's story is if you do have a romantic relationship, it's not much more than a friendship, especially if you have really young kids, right?
Yeah, it is like it's a strong bond.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what the movie's about, is about their bond. And we can also get into more plot stuff and how I believe, like, the scene where that bond is broken is, you're
Oh,
like, oh my God.
they like I wouldn't. Okay, let's just go through the movie and like discuss it.
Okay, yeah. The majority of this movie is incredibly basic. I think it's just combining different, like, genres, not genres, but
Well, it's
like
just a perfect
things we see
execution
in
of a
movies.
simple story.
Yeah, it a young mermaid, like sea monster man, is living um close to the coast, underwater, and he is curious about the outside world to a certain degree.
Yeah, he lives with his parents. He like herds fish sheep,
Yeah, yeah.
which I was a little
um
confused about, but I eventually was okay with it.
yeah, he herds fish sheep. Um, and then one day, like, he finds a bunch of human things on the ocean floor, and when he's finding them, he meets another young mermaid, uh, Alberto. I keep wanting to say Alejandro.
See,
I know that's wrong.
I keep wanting to say Bartolome, and that's nothing close to it.
Like he runs into Alberto, and Alberto takes him to the surface. And he undergoes the change, which is a thing that all mermaids can do, which is like they can live above water looking like humans.
Yeah, when they're dry, they're human. When they're wet, they're sea monster, mermaid,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes, and like they can live above the surface, but they don't generally because of a fear of persecution by humans, and a general hate for and fear of sea monsters.
Yeah, because racism.
Yeah, honestly, I think it is more similar to homophobia because there is a you cannot see it on the outside explicitly when you're above
Oh, yeah,
water.
you're right. Because like the two old ladies at the end who reveal
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, that too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
honestly think there is
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, yeah, wait.
yeah, I really think there is a lot of
You might be right. I
like
didn't even notice that.
implications of and I'm not an expert on it, and I would love to hear from people who like saw it and maybe had differing opinions.
Yeah, we are not. Gus and I are not members of the gay community. So if we're
Or I'm not LGBTQ at all.
if we're just
I'm a
talking out of our
guy.
asses, we're both straight
Yeah,
men.
I honestly think it's something that it's a way you can look at this movie, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it's intentional, but there are a lot of things there. So they go to the surface, and he's living on a small island, and he just kind of introduces Luca to the outside world to a certain degree. And the early parts of this, there's like an early 5-minute montage where they're trying to build their own wooden moped.
Yeah, that was great. The Vespa.
Yeah, a Vespa. Yeah. And like it ends with them riding down a hill, and they ride through the air, like flying through into the ocean. Yeah, it's a very sweet movie. And
Yeah,
they like yeah.
And eventually the parents, of course, they discover he's been going to the surface, and they invite like his creepy uncle, which is probably my favorite character of the movie.
He's so funny. Yeah. Like it's all character design.
I know, and the way it's like, okay, can you just punch his heart?
Yeah, like his see-through skin, his giant, like both pointing sideways eyeballs.
The cigar.
Yeah. And they threaten to send him like deep, dark ocean where you float around, you can't see anything, and you eat bits of whale carcass.
Yeah, you just kind of open your mouth and wait for them to float in.
And then he runs away with Alberto to the local town, which hates sea monsters.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the town. I want to say Santa Monica, but I really don't think it's Santa Monica.
Super not Santa Monica.
That's in California, right? That's Santa Monica here. Okay, yeah. But this town is Yeah, so they don't like sea monsters. So they have to infiltrate the town, and they want to be able. The whole goal for them is to get a Vespa, so that way they can explore the world. Because Luca's dream is to
Yeah.
just explore and to learn new things,
Hmm.
and to he doesn't want to be stuck underwater anymore. I want to be where
Yeah.
the people are. I want
Yeah.
to see them
Honestly,
dancing,
yeah.
etc.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
Um,
get it? See how I
I
did
haven't
that?
seen. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen Little Mermaid. It's still.
Have you
I
not
just
ever seen it?
never seen Little
Dude,
Mermaid.
that's such a good movie. Oh,
I know it's very weird. It just never came across my radar.
my sister and I
Um,
recently we used Disney Plus to just rewatch the entire Disney Renaissance, and it was great.
I watched a lot of Disney Renaissance. I love Mulan.
Mulan is
Just
my
because
favorite Disney movie.
I love the music. It's very good.
It's so
Be a
good,
Man is my favorite Disney song.
especially
Um,
the reprise when they like are all
oh
dressed
yes, the
as women
reprise
and
where
then
they're all in drag. It's
yeah,
amazing. It's the
it's
best.
so good.
It ends with like these like again a really excellent deconstruction of masculinity.
Yes,
Like as like the Be a Man becomes like dress and drag to save the day, and it's great. I love it.
yeah. Mulan
It's
no
all very
longer has
good.
to be a man. Now the men have to be women, and it's like a perfect
Yeah,
reversal of the
and by
roles.
like being a woman, you're like being a man in
Yeah,
the way that I
in the way that
generally consider.
culturally, when someone says "be a man" is defined,
Yeah,
get the shit
like
done.
there is like if you there is to a certain degree of a wholesome element to that, where it's like put while also being kind of like self-harming, which is like put your own interests aside for
Yeah,
the desire of other people, which can,
yeah.
I think, like sometimes it's like being loyal and sometimes it's like ruining yourself.
God, why can't
um
Disney go back to Mulan days? Why can't they go back to
okay,
Renaissance days? Those movies are so good.
yeah, you know,
Damn.
they can't.
Yeah. Anyway,
um
Luca.
yes, so they go to the surface. Their goal is to get a Vespa, and as soon as they arrive in the town, you're instantly getting into shenanigans of like water is the most dangerous thing to them.
Yeah.
um
This
they run into like this asshole who has his own like cherry red Vespa, and he's
and
like the local
sandwiches
bully.
galore.
Yeah, he has a, like we said, he has like a 5-foot sandwich, something like that. That his two cronies are holding around for him. Oh shit.
And we first see that, their bodies go back to their uh sea monster form when just a little water touches them. When
Yeah.
he's saying that Luca smells like fish, so he says he needs a bath. So he brings Luca over to a fountain and starts pushing his head into the fountain, and the little bits of water splashing on his cheek show some scales. And then,
Yeah.
but then saving the day is Santa Mozzarella Kid, who I cannot remember her name. I'm gonna look it up
Is
real
it
quick.
Guila? No.
Luca girl. Oh, it's Julia,
Julia.
but it's spelled like
Yeah.
Giulia.
Yeah, Julia. She shows up like to keep him from like bullying the dude. And they like long story short, they form an alliance.
Yeah, and they both have the same goal in mind, except they all want to win this race thing that's going to happen. I forget what it's called, but the whole thing is Julia wants to win it because she wants to end the reign of terror that is
Asshole with a
asshole
Vespa.
kids. Yeah, because he keeps winning the race, right? So he keeps getting the
Yeah, he
money
keeps
from the
winning,
prize.
even though like, and this is my favorite part of it, is that he's too old to enter anymore, but he keeps doing it anyways, which is like such an excellent representation of the shithead dude who like wants to feel like he's powerful, so he stays with the young kids.
Yeah, so he
And he's
picks
got,
on
like,
the tiny children.
yeah, he's like probably 18.
Yeah.
He's got a wispy mustache and he's like fucking with 15-year-olds.
Yeah, so whereas Julia wants to defeat asshole kid Alberto and Luca, they just want enough money to buy this, used Vespa that they see outside a front shop so they can explore the world. So then we have like this whole dinner sequence where we meet Julia's dad, who has one arm, who is amazing. I love him.
Yes,
And then
and he loves hunting sea monsters.
Yeah, he's introduced
yeah,
literally, like you see him cut off the fish's head as he's introduced.
Yeah, yes. And then there's like a point where Luca spits on Alberto's face.
Yeah.
And like water covers half his face and they duck down. And then the cat sees them with half
The cat was so good.
And it leads to the cat for the like first half of the movie just being like, you fucking guys, fucking mermaids.
And like keeping attacking the kids.
Yeah. Until they like bribe it with fish.
Yeah. So we eventually lead into a training montage where they're all getting ready. So the race thing, there's 3 parts of the race. There's first you have a swimming part, then you have to like an eating contest where you eat a bunch of pasta, and then there's a biking race where you bike down or up a hill, then down a hill, and whoever gets to the end first is the winner. So they all do a training montage. They realize that the only one of them who can swim, because they don't want to give away their identity as sea monsters, is Julia. And then Alberto's doing the pasta eating one, and Luca's doing the bike riding one. So that's they do a montage for a bit. We see more of the antics of like, the kids go fishing with Julia's dad, who runs a fishing business, and water splashes on them occasionally. All that stuff happens. And that's where you get like, they're trying, some of the antics of trying to stay dry on a boat in the middle of a harbor.
It's all like, this is some of the best parts of the movie is like Pixar knows how to put these characters in danger.
Yes.
In a way that doesn't have major consequences.
Yeah, like lighthearted danger.
And then around this point, the mom and the dad come to the surface.
And
the whole side plot of the mom and dad looking for their kid is just them assaulting children
and like dunking them in water.
Kid. Yeah, like the first scene, she just like kicks one of the kids. She kicks a soccer ball and it hits the kids so hard they fall into a fountain.
That whole scene of her just like demolishing children, I was crying. Yes. Bailey and I were laughing so hard.
I was like, she's definitely been to the surface before because she knows how to play soccer.
Yeah, she knows how to use her legs, whereas Luca had to be taught how to even walk.
And how to ride a bike, and he didn't know how to kick a ball.
Yeah. But they do a whole montage. That's also where you get one of my favorite parts that we talked about earlier, where the one-armed dad guy, he says, "You want to know how I lost my arm? A sea monster ate it off." And then everyone's like, "What?" And he's like, "No, I'm just kidding. I was just born this way."
Yeah. He was like, "I came into the world this way," and it's not like the kind of the same thing with the like subverting your expectations with in one that I personally hate, the Captain Marvel Nick Fury thing.
Yeah.
It's much more of a. It's a little thing, and honestly, I just think it's kind of sweet that they have a dude who's like, "I came into the world with an arm. This is how I've lived my entire life."
Yeah, especially when you see how dexterous he is with his one arm. Like, he can do everything with it.
And he's also, like, when he first shows up, he's a very big, like, burly, scary dude. But the whole movie, he's just super wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he very obviously cares for his daughter, and even these 2 kids who, like, stay at their house.
Yeah, these 2 rando kids that she claims is from her school back in. Oh yeah, so her parents are separated, so she lives with her mom during the year to go to school, which is further inland of Italy, and then she goes to her dad during the summer, which is on the coast. It's kind of a minor plot detail, but whatever.
Yeah, it is.
Eventually, as the montage ends, we get a scene between Luca and Julia where Julia says she wants Luca to look at something and come with her. You can see Alberto's a little bit jealous. And then Julia talks to Luca and like teaches him about astronomy, which, piques his interest even more because this kid wants to explore. He just wants to get out in the world. He wants to learn.
He wants to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so he says, "Where did you learn all this?" And she says, "Oh, at my school, at my mom's house. That's why I brought it up." And then he asks, "Do you think I can go to school with you?" And then
that comes later.
Oh, no. Yeah, that comes later. Anyway, but like, he gets the idea of going.
He learns about school, and then he talks to Alberto, and Alberto gets jealous. And like shows the moped.
Yeah. So then you now have this contrast between Alberto, who doesn't care about like learning stuff. He just wants to have fun. And Julia, who's like the other side of Luca, who wants to still have fun but learn about it, you know.
Yeah.
So you have this
And
branching.
Alberto is less about like just wanting to do things and have fun. It's very much about like must keep moving, and even more specifically, he it's like in his mind it's him and Luca versus the world, you know. And he gets kind of jealous that Luca wants to learn about other things and like spend time alone with other people.
Yeah, because as we learn later, he's been left alone before.
Yeah. That was, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
You're like,
I definitely knew that was going to happen, but damn.
But you're still like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah. That's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
So
a lot of it's them preparing for this eating pasta, going on a bike ride, and swimming triathlon.
Yeah, and you get like really good character beats, really good moments. The majority of them, like a good chunk of the movie is this. Not the majority, but a good chunk of it is this, and it's great.
And then it leads into this, like, Alberto is culminating in this jealousy, and when Luca like won't commit to riding the bike, he's like, we'll do it together. He won't let Luca like kind of go out on his own with this, and they ride the bike down this hill, and it's chaotic, and they crash into the ocean, and they arrive on the beach. And Julia finds them, and Luca's like, I want to go to school, and then Julia's like, that's great. And Alberto, in a like fit of jealousy, in an attempt to keep Luca from like seeing the outside world, shows that he is a mermaid. And then Luca, terrified that he won't be able to spend more time like on the surface, is like a mermaid and
look out, a sea monster.
Friend.
And it's that moment of the movie
like,
made
fuck.
Me gasp.
You're like, oh my, that is rough.
Yeah. And then of course asshole kid shows up and starts trying to harpoon Alberto.
Yeah. And Alberto swims away. Luca and Julia come home, and in a scene that I think is very like, it made a lot of sense to me and is very powerful. Like, as soon as they come home, Julia splashes water on his hands.
No, she does that immediately. I was like, yes,
she knows what's up.
I was like, okay, please. I was so afraid they were going to make her an idiot.
Yeah, and it's not even like and then she's like, I can't risk you guys getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go. You have to be safe. This is like, do you think I want you to leave? This is the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
But I can't risk your guys' lives. And he goes to Alberto on that small island from the beginning. And Alberto's like, like, that's the amount of time it's been since I've seen my father, who abandoned me because he thought I was ready to go out in the world on my own.
Yeah, so we learned that he has not been abandoned once before, and so he's afraid of being abandoned again, so he will clutch onto whatever semblance of a friendship that he can get.
Yes, he has attachment issues. And like, in an attempt to fix it, Luca's like, I'm going to enter the tournament on my own. And instead of swimming, he goes in with a like scuba suit.
With like a freaking like Scooby-Doo, whatever that name is. Mariner,
a diving suit.
What's his name?
Mariner.
No, hold on. That's a comic book. Hold on.
Yeah.
What's the, you know who I'm talking about, right? There's a Scooby-Doo villain who wears that suit. I don't know the names
of any specific Scooby-Doo villains.
I know the name of it, and it's going to bother me that I can't remember it.
Well, it's like an old-timey diving suit. The triathlon actually happens. And this, I think, is paced very well again.
Oh, it is, yeah.
The first part is like, in an attempt to cheat, Italian dude has his partner who's the swimmer like get dumped in oil because they'll make him go way faster, and he does go way faster. But then the olive oil attracts fish, and then a bunch of fish start like attacking him and biting him and eating him, and he gets trapped. And while this is happening, the kid's under the ocean, and the thing cracks, and he gets water on his face. But when he comes off, he takes his helmet off and kind of hides his head.
And then he like runs under the pasta table in order to dry himself off. Which he eats. And Julia's also in the competition still, but now they're on opposing teams. So they all do the pasta eating. Asshole kid's like shoving the pasta and
he like literally bare hands and then tags himself in for the bike race. And like it culminates in the final part, which is the bike race up and down back to the bottom.
Yeah.
And in the middle of this bike race, it starts raining. Because again, they know how to execute all of the like, they know the threats of this movie.
It's
And
so good. You
gets
see
to
like a few
stop.
drops fall, and it's just this mortified look on Luca's face, like, oh no.
Yeah. And then Alberto comes with an umbrella to save him, and he gets tripped by asshole bike dude and reveals himself to be the mermaid guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Luca tries to go to help, and Alberto's like, stop, you're safe there. And then Alberto makes the choice that he didn't make before to help his friend and out himself as a mermaid, leading those two as mermaids to like in the final race with each other against asshole dude who is also trying to murder them at this point.
Yeah, and then like you get like this shot of him. He's like pushing children away from him on the bikes, and then like throwing spears at these guys.
But even before that, he's like standing on his bicycle, holding a harpoon in two hands.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, like little
flashes.
Tusken Raider doing it.
Yeah, and then like it leads in a final scene where the whole town sees that they're mermaids. And the first one to recognize that it's Luca and Alberto is Julia's father. Yeah, a scene that is once again very sweet.
And it says like they can't win. Don't you see what they are? And he walks over to them. Mm-hmm. I see what they are. They are winners. Yeah. And he holds them up, and it's great.
Yeah, it's all and like it ends with like people being accepted, and the mom and dad finally catch up to Luca.
And this random two old ladies who had just been in the movie in the background.
Yeah, the whole time.
Just remove an umbrella, and it turns out they were sea monsters all along too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're right. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
seeing it now more. Yeah, right. Like this is definitely there's some allegories in here.
And it like ends with Luca and Alberto when they buy the Vespa and they're all having dinner together like mermaids and humans sitting next to each other. And then the final scene is Julia's going back to school, and then Alberto hands Luca a ticket on the train because Alberto sold the Vespa to get the ticket, and his parents are saying that they're letting him go to school, and Alberto's staying behind because Julia's dad offered him like a spot on his fishing boat.
Yeah.
And they leave, and it ends with him like riding away on the train, and like he like runs after him into the rain, and he turns into a mermaid, and then he goes through a tunnel, and then he comes out of the tunnel into the rain, like crying in one of the most beautiful shots of the movie.
Oh God, dude, I got so many spine shivers.
You were like, oh shit.
And he's just hanging off the edge of this train as he turns back into his fish person self. And you see him close his eyes as the camera pans up to the sky.
And then the movie ends. And it's just a sweet, fun, really good movie. And I really liked it. And I was happy to talk about something that just felt wholesome.
Yeah.
Especially after last week.
Well, the thing is, like, after these past 2 years of just chaotic craziness from like both the pandemic and also politics and also just the world seems to be going to shit. This movie is a breath of fresh air, man. It's like it's so lighthearted. It's so simple. Like it doesn't have a big plot because it doesn't need to. And it's just it's a nice movie. This is a nice movie that will get you to smile.
Yes, and then the last thing I want to talk about, because you talked to me about this before, is the future of Pixar.
Yeah.
Just because this movie is very good. And one thing that, like, I think we talked a little bit about it before is that this movie is free on Disney Plus, and it doesn't have a cinematic release in theaters.
So
at this point,
so here's what I'll say on this. So a lot of people know about if you like follow any movie social media, like anything that does the movie, you've probably heard about, you know, some of the lead animators at Pixar have been publicly stating that they're upset with the fact that Disney is not giving their films theatrical releases. Now, some people were defending Disney and saying, you know, well, that's right. They shouldn't be encouraging people to go to movie theaters. But here's the thing. Disney is promoting their own films in movie theaters. Films like Cruella, films like Raya. That's the thing. Like Disney movies were in theaters throughout the pandemic and on the Premiere Access, whatever, it is called.
Yeah, if you were to watch it on Disney Plus, you had to pay extra money.
You'd have to pay like what, $30, $35,
Yeah,
some
something like that.
insane amount of
Not
money that
and no amount of money worth going to watch a movie unless you have like 8 people watching it together.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, and then they release this movie and Soul on Disney Plus for free. Now, Soul, I can kind of get it because Soul was in the middle of the worst of the pandemic.
Yeah, it was in like November. It was in like fall.
It was some of the worst of the pandemic.
Where no movies should be in theaters. And that makes sense. The only problem is it's still just Pixar.
Yeah, the only problem is Raya came out at the same time and they put Raya in theaters. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So the thing that a lot of people are noticing is the fact that Disney is promoting their own material way heavier than Pixar's material. And the theory going on is that Disney's trying to dissolve Pixar into Disney, because like Pixar's already owned by Disney, right? Any money that Pixar makes, Disney also makes. But Disney animated movies are losing quality. This is not, they kind of came back a little bit with, stuff like The Princess and the Frog and stuff like Frozen and stuff like Tangled.
Yeah, Frozen and Tangled
and Moana. I really like films. Moana.
Yeah. And Moana. I just forgot about Moana. Moana is quite good.
Moana's very good. But Frozen 2 wasn't very good. Wreck-It Ralph 2 was not very good.
Not good.
Raya was mediocre. Would have been better if they kissed.
It would be way better if they kissed. And in general, I think the pacing is weird on that one.
It feels like they were trying to do an Avatar, like The Last Airbender.
Yeah. With the 4 nations and all of that.
Yeah, with the multiple nations. It's like they tried to cram a season's worth of material into a movie.
I wish they had kind of leaned into more of an Indiana Jones style thing, like they do with the first place that she goes to.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's traps and stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I also find it interesting in that movie that it's a movie supposed to be, all about Southeast Asian culture, whereas not all, but almost all of the voice actors are just straight up East Asian people. So like you have Chinese and Japanese voice actresses for people who are supposed to be, more Vietnamese or Taiwanese or in that general region, So, which, I mean, I get it. It's Disney. They want to have Sandra Oh and Kelly Marie Tran, Benedict Wong, all these big names voicing their characters, but still. Anyway, we're not talking about that movie, but the whole thing that people are noticing is the fact that theaters are open now. California's open now, and I don't know about Massachusetts where you are.
I am going to work without a mask.
So you're okay. Yeah. So I'm assuming most of the country is open now, and Luca did not go to theaters. That's odd, because theaters are opening up very fast. They're about to introduce 4 Marvel movies this year, or something like that. I think it's only 3. No.
Yeah.
No,
there's
2
movies coming out in theaters right now.
Point is, theaters are open. Disney's putting their own movies in theaters. Things are safer now. The vaccine's out. Go get vaccinated if you haven't done that. I'm assuming everybody who's listening to this has, but just if you haven't, do it.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
Try, and if you're struggling, I don't know.
If you're struggling, you can actually get Uber or Lyft. I forget which company, but one of those companies is doing. If you say you're going to a vaccination site and you show proof of that, they will give you a free ride. Which is there and back. So anyway, but things are opening up, and yet Luca did not go to theaters. And Soul, which was supposed to be this big theater thing because it's one of the most beautiful animated films I've seen in my life.
Incredible movie.
But it didn't go to theaters. Everybody thought it would be delayed because Disney was delaying everything. They delayed Black Widow. They delayed, they even delayed Raya only a few months. But so they expected Soul to be delayed. No, it came out when it was supposed to, just at home. So, they did actually delay it a little bit because it was supposed to come out at pandemic height when it was the most feared in March and April. But point is, they still didn't wait. And it just seems like there's this repeating thing happening where Pixar movies are not getting advertised as much as they used to. And the running theory is that because Disney movies aren't up as good as they used to be, aren't as up to snuff, that they're trying to absorb Pixar into the Disney animated films to make better Disney animated movies.
And if that's true, I would be very angry.
Yeah.
Disney,
it's a little conspiracy theory-esque, but I can see the roots of it.
It seems like they very specifically chose Pixar, and I hope it's not true. And I don't.
Yeah.
I would wait to see reasoning. There's another more concerning thing going on. Did you hear about Loki and Disney trying to trademark Loki's name?
What? Are you kidding? The god of mischief?
Not just Loki, like a couple Norse gods.
So wait, so that's what like Disney's like saying, okay, you guys, if you say Yahweh now, we're gonna sue you for $1 million.
Well, it's like saying, but it's also like selling merch of Lokis that aren't their Loki.
What?
On stuff. People have gotten copyright claims on like Etsy and other sites.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I really hope that doesn't happen. I'm not like fully sure like how much they're pushing it for, but if they can do that, it's bad.
I mean, they're gonna very soon. They're gonna renew the copyright lease for Mickey Mouse, making the copyright length even like right now. I think it's 70 years after the creator's death because it's been about 70 years since Walt died. So
yeah,
once we reach the end of that, it's probably going to be 90 years after the creator's death, or even a century after the creator's
Disney
death. Because literally, Disney is the only reason that I cannot use songs from the Beatles in movies. Like literally, any song that John Lennon made, we should be able to use. But no, because Disney don't let that happen. Oh,
nope,
God.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. If you can't tell, we don't like Disney very much.
The
corporation.
Yes.
The people behind the movies.
As a business.
Yeah.
There's a very easily recognizable talent behind specifically Pixar for me.
Well, even Disney animators do a good job. Like I thought Raya looked gorgeous.
Raya looked good. It's just overall composition of those films is not nearly as consistently well done as Pixar.
Yeah.
Something like Onward is not great, but they have like I think they're still really good. I think with Luca and Soul, they've proved that they can.
Oh yeah, Onward was also released not in theaters when theaters were
that one
open.
Also made sense to me.
Yeah,
because that came out before Soul, didn't it?
It did, but the thing is, like, you still have Disney delaying their other movies until theaters were open. So
true.
It's like this weird double standard that might be there that like a lot of people are seeing, but I don't know. I hope it's not true because I really like Pixar and everything they do. Honestly, Pixar has not made a movie that I have not liked. Like I like Cars too. Don't murder me for that. I really like Cars.
I'm not going to murder you for that. It's kind of silly and funny, but like, fuck, it's a bad movie. It's so bad.
It's a bad movie, but I had so much fun watching it.
I like it more than Cars 1. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
I don't like Cars 1.
Well, the thing is, like, here's what I'll say. Every Pixar movie, I have left the theater feeling like I enjoyed myself during that movie.
Yeah.
Except for the ones where I cry my eyes out, which I still enjoy myself, but I'm just sad.
There are still some with like Pixar. I'm like, this is painfully mediocre.
Yeah. Bug's Life. I don't like Bug's Life.
I kind of like Bug's Life.
I don't like.
It's the Magnificent Seven. Bug's Life is the Magnificent Seven. That's why it's awesome.
I don't like Bug's Life. I don't know why. There's no reason for it. I don't like that movie.
It's like it's not great, but I like that it's the Magnificent Seven. I like the villain.
The villain is good. I will give it that. But yeah, so that was Luca. Go watch it if you haven't. If you're at this part of the episode, I'm assuming you did because you would have had the entire thing spoiled, but go watch it again. I don't know. Maybe but
it's a good movie.
It's a very good movie. Very well done. Good job to the Pixar directors. Good job to the Pixar executives. Everybody who worked on that movie. I am excited to see what they do next because Pixar never fails to disappoint. For me,
they are the strongest branch of Disney.
Yeah, they definitely
by a long shot.
No, you're right. Yeah.
I
was thinking. I was trying to think of like a rebuttal to that, but I think you're right.
It's not Marvel. Marvel is very highs and lows.
Yeah.
And
well, Marvel's consistently fun except for like phase 2.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't like a lot of the like standalone. Like I don't like Captain Marvel at all.
I think it's
I think
fine.
that
I just
movie
want to watch it
that
again.
movie's so bland.
Well, that's the thing. It is the .0 of Marvel movies for me. It is the exact mediocre of all of them.
Yeah. But
Which
Marvel
is
has,
disappointing because I was excited for
yeah.
that movie.
But for me, I will say the highs in Marvel are high. Watching Endgame in theaters was awesome.
Screaming with the crowd as Steve Rogers says, "Assemble," and the entire theater goes up and like cheers.
There was an energy in that theater at Grand Lake.
It was so good.
Yes.
I remember seeing Infinity War in the Jack London theater, and at the point where Thanos stabs Tony Stark in the side, I just heard this one lady in the bottom corner of the theater go, "Man, turn it now!" It was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. But I do think Pixar's the strongest leg of Disney. And they just make movies that are really, really sweet and really nice to watch.
Yeah.
They make me happy.
So this one, maybe this episode shouldn't be titled Critically Loud. Maybe it should be titled Humbly Soft, because we didn't yell that much in this one. I don't know.
But fuck Disney executives and the people that run that business.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Disney, the movie makers, you're fine. Disney, the business. Audio listeners, I'm flipping off the screen.
Suck the fattest dick. You fucking bastards. Like the harm you have done to the film industry and like multiple different media industries is really shitty. You are way too powerful of a company. Like the fact that we're talking about this, like it's the strongest branch, that's because it owns Marvel, Disney, its own stuff, Pixar, and more.
Yeah, Star Wars now, and then also 20th Century Fox. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. Pixar's good, Disney's bad, this movie's good, Raya's mediocre. I forget what else we talked about. This is probably a longer one. I think we talked.
They should have kissed in Raya.
Should have kissed in Raya. The end. They didn't need to kiss in Luca though.
No, but there's a lot of heavy implications.
There for sure is. Good on you, Pixar, for. I feel like that was purposeful. That had to be intentional.
I don't know if it's purposeful. I just think it's a really fun thing to look at, like to think about and analyze.
Yeah, true. Anyway, This has been the past episode of Critically Loud. You can, if you're listening on audio, we have a YouTube channel called Little Schemers. Look us up. We make some cool stuff. If you're watching on the Little Schemers YouTube channel, subscribe, do the like button. Check out Hunted Cranes. That just came out.
Yes, it's fully out.
It's fully out, and it's like such a weight off our shoulders.
Yes, we spent many months working.
We spent
on
way
that
too long on that.
Yeah. Well, not too long. I'm very proud of that though.
Yeah. No. Go check that out. Share that with your friends. It's a very good story. I think we did a good job.
Yeah. Yes, there are there are a lot of things that I would have done differently, but that's always the way it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Especially like with a script, which is something I could like. I don't know.
You can revise it forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next episode will be coming out Wednesday, the 30th. So tune in then to see what we're talking about. Until then, this has been Critically Loud, the podcast where two teenagers yell at Disney.
Yeah, fuck Disney. Peace.